So hi, originally I had another video planned out for today, but it was a video with me and Cindy, but it's taken a really long time to edit. It's a really long video, so I'm going to post that next week, and this week I'm going to do this. So here's what happened. A couple of Thursdays ago, I had a lab, and I came back home and instantly felt awful. It came out of nowhere, and I felt really sick, and I didn't know what to do, and I went the rest of my day, and it was getting increasingly worse, but there was no reason to feel this way. So the next day, I go to the doctor, because it was really strange. I go to the doctors on campus, and they say that I had a kidney infection. So that's rough, but it's not that hard to deal with. So I started taking antibiotics, and of course it made me a little more sick, as antibiotics do. But I went through the weekend, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. So that Monday, I think that whole weekend I didn't go to work. And that Monday, I went to class, and I couldn't make it. I made it about 15 minutes before I decided that I needed to leave, and it took me another 15 minutes to even get up. By the time that I got home, I was on the floor. I couldn't handle it. And I decide that I need to go to the doctors right away. So I go back to the clinic at school, and they gave me fluids, which was the first time I ever even had an IV. Ever. And maybe I had one whenever I was 4. I got my tonsils removed. But other than that, it was really the first time. So I was freaking out, and I had an IV put in, and I went through 2 bags of fluids because I lost that much. And then my mom came up the next day, and we went to the emergency room because I throwing up, fever, it was the whole 9 yards of everything that could have possibly happened. So at that point, we go to the emergency room, and we do a CAT scan, and this is after I've had bags of fluid and bags of antibiotics in me, and because they were first just trying to figure out what it was. They were trying to treat me for a kidney infection, and I got a CAT scan, and it turns out I had kidney stones. Originally, I had a 9 by 6 millimeter kidney stone that was just outside my kidney. So right away, they decide that I need to have surgery, and I go to an oncologist, and originally we were going to schedule it for a later date, but he noticed how much pain I was in and said that we needed to do it that day. So literally that day, right after I left, we went to the doctors, and I had my kidney stones removed, and at that point they figured out I had 3 stones that were lumped together, and those 3 stones had to be like laser removed. And at that point they put in a stent, which is supposed to help me get the rest of the pebbles, whatever residue was left in my body from the stones that they couldn't remove through surgery, that just had to get past. And so that got put in, and that's a whole nother story. So at that point, the stent was doing real bad stuff to me. Normally people get a little sick, but for me that wasn't the case. I was doing really bad, and we didn't know what was going on. I was throwing up, and I was, at this point, it's around Thursday. I had surgery around Thursday. I spent the night with my mom like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday we went in for surgery and had the stent put in, and I was supposed to get the stent taken out on Monday. So just over the weekend it was gonna be fine. And then Monday, the whole entire time I was like, just gotta make it through Monday, and I was feeling better at times but worse at other times. And then I went in to get the stent removed, threw up immediately on the way home, fever, everything was going haywire. That's not supposed to happen at all. When you get a stent removed, you might feel a little bad after, but just a little bit. You're supposed to basically feel instantly better, and I didn't. And me and my mom tried to make it through the night. At around 11, after throwing up anything I could try to eat and having over 100-degree fever, I think I had 101, maybe 102, we went to the emergency room, and I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I had nothing left in me. It was gone. And at that point, they put me in, and they put me in the emergency room, and they gave me more fluids, more antibiotics, just anything that could try to make me better. And at that point, at 4 o'clock in the morning, I got admitted into the hospital. And technically, I didn't really get a room until like 8, but you know. And I stayed there for 4 days, or 3. I think I got out on the 3rd day. And through all of that, I had my blood drawn like every hour. I had constant IV fluids, constant IV antibiotics, anything that they could do to try to make me feel better. After that, around maybe a day after, I could actually stomach things after a full day of being in the hospital, because they wouldn't let me, they only had me on a liquid diet, which was awful. And so I could finally eat something, and then I think on the 3rd day I got out. I went with my mom and I stayed at a hotel because she didn't want me to be by myself. And that night I took my antibiotics and I had a crazy allergic reaction. So when I was in the hospital, I was getting allergic reactions, but it was low enough and not bad enough that they could keep giving me the medicine, because it was the strong stuff and it was the good stuff, and it was the stuff that was going to help me the most, the fastest. But the way that antibiotics work is that you can have up to 3 doses and not even know that you're allergic to them. So by the time I got home, that was going to be the 3rd dose. And I took it. My arms were covered in hives. I had a fever. I was throwing up, and my throat was swelling. And we went back to the emergency room that night, and we didn't get out until 3 o'clock in the morning. And I had to go through basically everything all over again. I had bruises on my arms that were bigger than my thumbs, and it was crazy. So that happened, and that was kind of the rest of it. I went home after the emergency room. They gave me EpiPens. They told me to watch out. I could only really drink water and everything. And after I went home, me and my mom stayed at the hotel for another day, and I went back, or that day my mom went back home, and I stayed at my friend's house in San Antonio because she was going to be down with her parents for the weekend, and I didn't want to be by myself. So, because I felt better, but I didn't want to not feel better. So I kept going, I kept living, and I kept doing everything. I went to auditions, I went to classes, I took tests that I wasn't prepared for, and then it was spring break and I got to go home. And I rested a lot. I didn't see a lot of people, but I was home. And the week after that, about a week ago, maybe a week and a half, I get really sick again. Me and Sydney go to a Greek restaurant because I really like Greek food, and we go, and that right after that I get sick. I was feeling sick at the restaurant, but I don't know. I thought it was me. I don't know what I thought it was. And we went home and I was getting worse. And I thought maybe if I just kept resting, it would go away. And then I woke up, threw up everything, and had a fever that wouldn't go down. So the next day we went to the doctor, and they basically just kept treating me for a kidney infection that kind of never went away, because we started focusing on the stones and not the infection, even though every single time I went in, they said that everything was gone, but I guess it wasn't. Before that, I would be at work, and I would be instantly tired. I couldn't handle it, and a lot of the times I still can't handle it. Like, a couple of hours on my feet makes me extremely tired. Me being in class makes me extremely tired. I don't have a lot of energy anymore, and it's purely because I'm still in recovery. a really long process, but I know a lot of people, because I posted it here and there on Snapchat and on Instagram and on Twitter and on Facebook, and a lot of people were really concerned, and a lot of people really didn't know the story, and here it is. If you wanted to know what happened, that's what happened. I had a really bad kidney infection that turned into really bad kidney stones that turned back into a really bad kidney infection kind of twice over, and had an allergic reaction to my antibiotics. But that's it, basically. Right now I'm okay. It's a little rough, but I'm okay. But I knew that this is something people wanted to know, and yeah, that's basically it. Thank you for everyone who asked if I was okay, if anyone wanted to know what happened, and you were asking me if you were concerned when I was in the hospital. Thank you for everyone's prayers. It was crazy and it was long, but it's good now. It's gonna be better. But that's basically it. I know that people wanted to hear the story, and my channel was honestly the best way to communicate that. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Next week's video, well, even Thursday's video, next week's video is going to be so much more energetic. The one that me and Sydney have planned out for Tuesday is a best friend tag video, and that's going to be really good. It was a really long video. I have a really long time to edit it. But yeah, I know people wanted to hear it, so here it is. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, all that great stuff. And if you have any actual other questions for me, go ahead and ask me. It doesn't bother me. I don't mind if people ask. If you have a question, go ahead. It's completely fine. I'm completely okay with it. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for if you gave me blessings of any sort. I couldn't have made it through without y'all. So thank you. All right. See you Thursday. I'm out.